you like to mess around and tinker around in the shop as much as I do, you're going to want to stick around and watch this video. I'm going to show you how you can make your own fly floatant. It's not much of a trade secret anymore that popular floatants like flyagra are primarily made up of two ingredients, Albolene and Zippo fluid. But we're going to take this video one step further, and we're actually going to break down the individual ingredients of those components to make our own float. The three main active ingredients in your Albolene that we're going to be making is going to be paraffin. You can pick this up in the canning sections at the grocery stores. The next main ingredient is going to be petroleum jelly, Vaseline, and the third component is going to be mineral oil. And for the Zippo fluid, we're going to be using naphtha because that's all that Zippo fluid is. For our ratios, we're going to use 1 part of the petroleum jelly. For my measurements, I just use a tablespoon. You can use any size measurement you want, depending on how large of a batch you like to end up with. But 1 part for the petroleum jelly or Vaseline, 2 parts of the wax. To get the wax, I like to melt it down first, and then I'll use my scoop and I'll take out 2 parts to my pearl wax, and then 10 parts of the mineral oil. And with those, I'm going to melt them together. And when I get them melted down and it cools, I get a pretty good fly floating as it is. It's a solid texture, but it liquefies with a little bit of heat. This is great if you're putting it on flies and feral leaders alike. I got a lot of good applications. So you can skip the next steps, or you can make a combination of the two. But this is a great floating right here as it is. I've doubled my recipe. So instead of 1 part of Vaseline, I'm going with 2 parts of Vaseline. I'm going to combine everything into this glass jar. We'll work that down here in a minute. So 2 parts of wax. I got 4 parts of wax, so I'm using tablespoons. And instead of 10 parts of mineral oil, I'm going to do 20 parts of it. And I'm going to put this into a boil. And once it liquefies and mixes, we're going to let it set up and congeal again. Once all the ingredients are put together in the jar, I'm just going to put this in the double boil, and I'm going to let it all mix together and melt. Homemade Albolene has boiled down into a clear liquid consistency, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pour it and decant it into a smaller container, and then once this sets up, then we'll mix it up with our naphtha to get our final product. Now you can let this as it is, like I said, and that's just going to make a solid fly floatant that will liquefy with a little bit of friction from your fingers. But we're just going to let this set up, and then we're going to remix it. So when we remix this, our ratio is going to be 1 part of our homemade Albolene, and then we're going to mix that to 4 part of our Zippo fluid or our naphtha, and that's going to give us our final product. All right, our homemade mixture has finally cooled and it's congealed, and we got this fly floating right here. We're going to turn it into flyagra or a good pre-treatment. Main difference between these two is that this is going to be a liquid. You can put a fly in here and then give it a good shake up and actually keep the fly floating all day. The naphtha, it dissolves the waxes in our concentrate here, so it penetrates the fly. This can be just added on throughout the day if you want to carry 2 separate ones, or like I said, furrow leaders. That's a great floating for those. So we're just going to do 1 part to 4 parts. So we'll just get our 1 scoop here, and I'll level that off just a little bit. And then do is get that in this bottle here. A little messy. It's all right. And then I got 4 parts of our naphtha, or our Zippo fluid, and I'm just going to pour it right in here. Solid floatant that we have will dissolve. And you can always play around with the ratios, you know, making your own. Definitely doesn't have to be an exact science. It's a good eyeball exercise. Put the cap on, clean it off, and just give it a good shake. And pretty much liquid right now as it is. Yep. And that's all it takes. And I pretty much filled up one of these Nalgene bottles about half full, so I can double that and have a full bottle. And definitely got a good amount of supply left over. So appreciate you watching this video. If you like to tinker, give this one a shot. It's pretty fun, it's pretty easy. Yeah, definitely cheaper to go down to the fly shop, buy one of these. This will last you, you know, a good season as it is, but you know, that's not always the point of doing things. So hope you enjoyed the video. Have a good one.